Yahweh shines the power. Yeah.
And shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom to everybody online. Let's go ahead and get class rolling for the Sabbath. I'm going to say this. Remember, it is the Sabbath day. Keep it holy. All right? That means try to keep your mind focused some way on the Most High. Studying, reading, right? You're not in the spirit because you're zoning out on TikTok, all right? Or Instagram. Take a break and get your mind into the spirit, right? Con? Especially when it comes to the ninjarism, the arguing, the back and forth, I'm trying to engage in contention. This is Shabbat. You know what I mean? Let that go. All right? I mean, truthfully, you should be letting it go regardless. But above all days, today you're supposed to be thinking about, let me refocus my mind on the Most High. You know what I mean? In its entirety, in the spirit. Do some reading, studying. All right. So we're going to go ahead and real quick, our little announcements. Brothers and sisters that are new, these are our locations. All right. So if you want to go ahead and contact us if you're in that area, go ahead and get a hold of us. You can also call us if you want to. You can watch online if you want to. All right. Check out the Blog Talk Radio. It's a powerful show. Powerful Blog Talk Radio Mashaba has on there. So please support our other YouTube shows. The Hidden Truth Bible Show, 5 Minutes of Wisdom, the Israelite Media Corps. Please support those. Consensus? All right. Passover. All right. If you want to be a participant of the Passover, follow the High Holy Day, and you feel like you're affiliated with our school, you've been watching, please come and join us. It is a holy convocation. It is a holy convocation. All right? Man, if y'all in class, please don't log in to the YouTube channel. I don't want to. You know what I mean? He's going to do it. He's going to do it just for the comments to make sure we're on top of that. But anyway, Passover. If you are coming to the Passover and you can help do that, please. We need help with the lamb. We need help with the location. If you don't have the money, remember, this is a high holy day. We're going to be there and we're going to supply the food. But if you can put in, then you put in. All right? Next one. Garments for Passover is a must. All right? It's part of our tradition in the law that we wore our best apparel on the Passover. So this is where the dress up comes in, where we all get dressed. Because when we left Egypt, we left with our with the finest things of Egypt. All right. So check that out. I don't think they're doing anything outside of getting things ready for the Passover. All right. Then we got, what's the next one? Fringed up. Man, the fringed up is getting better and better and better quality, better style. All right. So Fringed Up is a monthly subscription for fringes, headbands, and you can throw an armband in there. We have a lot of things that they offer up on Fringed Up. And y'all can check this out online at, what is that again? What is it? What is the website again?
ISB.
ISBHBK.com.
/fringed up.
/friendsduck. Then Hebrew Academy, if you feel like you are affiliated and you want to be a priest, come join us and be part of Hebrew Academy. All right? Not for the faint-hearted, for brothers that want to dedicate themselves a little bit more. All right? And the last but not least, if you want to help support Passover, the schools, you can do that. All right? And all the information is up there. We appreciate it. Every month, whoever gives, whoever supports, we appreciate you. And my number, Chaazaqya's number is up there. If y'all have any questions or want counsel, you can feel free to hit us up. All right? So that's out of the way. We're going to go ahead and get into questions. Does anybody got anything? If not, I'm going to go right into this topic. Any questions on anything? Sharina, you got some? None to mine? All right. Sisters? Any team? Brothers? Nothing? Loud? Loud. Okay, so tonight's class, we're going to be going into... Last time we went into the Moabite stone. I think they got to put that thumbnail up there for the Moabite stone, because I think sisters are missing that. They didn't put the thumbnail for that, nor do I think they titled it even correctly. We got to fix that. But anyway, we went over the Moabite stone. Who can tell me something about the Moabite stone? Okay, not all at once. Y'all chill out. Calm down. Hold on, y'all talking over everybody. All right, let's do it humbly. What's that, sis?
It's also known as the Morisha stone.
The Misha stone. Right? No, why is it the Misha stone? Good job, sis. Oh, I mean, I'll take the hot tea, but I mean cold.
Oh, you want like iced tea?
Like, yeah, tea, just whatever tea,
Okay.
something to drink, and a water.
Okay.
Why is it called the Misha stone? The Moabite stone is known as the Misha stone. Okay, how about this? Why is it called the Moabite stone? Yeah, sis.
Is it Moabite? Aren't those in Asia? Was it found in Asia or something?
No. See, it don't work like that. You don't come to me with no unassurity. I want confidence that you know what you're saying. All right? So you're going in the right way. It's called the Moabite stone because it was found in Moab. All right? Okay, so Misha, who was he? What is it? How did it look? What's that?
He was a Moabite king.
Right, so Misha was the Moabite king that did what on the Moabite stone? What?
He wrote on it?
He boasted of his conquering, and we touched on that, right? So he boasted of his conquering. So we're going to talk about the Tel Dan Stele. They're called stelas, Steele. I think it is. I think it's is it? Stele. So we're going to talk about the Tel Dan Stele. Now, it's called the Tel Dan Stele because it was found in Dan. Okay? It was founded in Dan. I get thirsty up here. My mouth get dry, all that. But this is not liquor. There is no cognac in here. Just to tell you, by the way. It's just tea. All right. So we're going to talk about the Tel Dan Stele, which was found in Dan. All right. But before we get into that, let's go over some scriptures, because when I start out this archaeological evidence that helps you deal with people on the street, like you tell somebody about the Moabite stone, they don't know what the hell you're talking about. Oh, the Bible isn't real. That was made up. Oh, you believe in history? Yeah, I believe in history. Okay, you know about the Moabite stone? Then you can go into the Moabite stone and say, look, the Moabite stone was a historical recording of a king of the Moabites that he took account about our people. Now you're getting into bringing in, sometimes you got to go from a historical standpoint and then come right back around to the Bible. Right? There's a lot of people like that. So you can do that. The Tel Dan Stele is going to be the same way. All right? All right. So we're going to go into, before we go into this Tel Dan Stele, let's go to Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10. Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10. Go ahead.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 12 and verse 10.
Go ahead.
Never trust thine enemy.
What?
Never trust thine enemy.
So the reason I'm going here is because when you deal with archaeology, you deal with anthropology, you deal with these things, a lot of people, there's always two sides, y'all. So the reason I'm saying that is because, so you won't be oblivious that when somebody, there's an argument on why they won't certify themselves the Moabite stone, right? But there's many archaeologists that do what? The Moabite stone and the Stele stone, they said this is factual, archaeological evidence. It's proven, right? But there's somebody on the flip side that's going to try to do what? Disprove that. Because they want to continue to disprove the Bible. So I don't want y'all to think like that everybody's in on this and that everybody knows this is factual. It don't work like that. The devil is not going to make it that easy. It's about the knowledge of good and evil to keep you confused, right? So it's always little things out there to discredit and to take away the validity of the scriptures. And the point of these Sabbath classes and to bring out these evidence is for you to have more backing of the scriptures historically, right? You need to know history. You got to have history with the Bible. If you don't have that, a lot of pieces are missing, right? So we got to remember to what?
Never trust thine enemy.
Yeah, you got to remember, when you look up these archaeological digs, is there any Hebrew Israelite man, godly man over there? Hell no. They're all nations. Whether they're Edomites, whether they're Ishmaelites, because a lot of these archaeological digs are in the Middle East. And then you got Caucasians from America that want what? To put their foot in these things. And they're over there digging up, looking for things. So they can say, look, this is on our account. We found this. Right? And then they can put it in their museum. Right? So this is what this is all about. And every time we go over this, we're going to talk about how they paint the narrative. They always paint the narrative the way they want. They find an Israelite body and it's too dark, they're going to say it's what? Canaanite, Egyptian, barely, because the Egyptians, they don't want you to see that they were black people either, dark-skinned people. So we got to remember, biblically, we can never trust our enemy. Don't think you're going to get the right information fully from them, right? It's going to be mixed. But what did the Most High do also? What did he do also with these heathens? He put the spirit on some of the heathens to believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right? And there's a sect of Christians that are fighting for what we're fighting for, to bring out evidence and truth. Right? To some point, right? Right, because you can never what?
Trust thine enemy.
You see my point? Like, they're never going to tell you, like, look, we found a true picture of Christ. He's dark-skinned. He's black. They're not going to say that. He was Middle Eastern. He had olive skin. right? They're not going to fully tell you the truth and bring out all the evidence, right? Not all the time. You know what I mean? Not all the time. And when you think about the percentage that are online telling you the true Jews are black of other nations, or with the Hebrew Israelites, it's a small percentage, right? So we got to remember to what?
Never trust thine enemy.
Read.
For like as iron rusteth,
right?
So is his wickedness.
As iron rusteth, so doeth their wickedness. That means what? You wipe it away, but what? It's going to come right back. You want to give them a chance, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Right? You're like, man, let me give them a chance. You know what I mean? I had friends, nations that were friends. You know what I mean? Not all of them are bad, right? Come on. But then it's like 1 minute they're moving, you think they're being just, and then they what? They switch it on you, right? Also, tell me online if my mic is too loud. All right, you might have to bring it down on yours, sis. Just a little bit right there. I don't want it to be too loud and punch them. They were telling me last time it was percolating. It was popping. It was. All right, I don't want to go over the whole 30 minutes and then I couldn't even hear you. The water, Israel. Okay, so it's good?
She just said loud.
Loud what?
It sounds too loud.
Okay, it sounds good. All right, I didn't want to be... they waited like 10 minutes into the class, and then I was like, I looked through the chat. All right, so remember this. Come on, read on.
Though he humble himself,
Right?
and go crouching.
Though he humble himself, go crouching.
Yet,
What happened to the conquistadors when they came over to America? They left. They came back. They established a relationship. Right? Oh, they're not so bad. These pasty ass white people coming over here from... Where are you guys coming from? Y'all are like dead people, right? And they come in and do what? Befriend you. They make treaties. They make agreements. And then they what? Break the agreements. They break them. So, y'all see this, right? Okay, read on.
yet take good heed,
Right?
and beware of him.
Right?
And thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass.
And you should be unto them as thou hadst wiped a looking glass. You understand? You be unto him as thou hast wiped a looking glass. Right? You wipe away, you think you wiping away, but that spirit is still there. So I'm bringing this out in the beginning of this topic because we're not going to fully, I'll say it again for all you new brothers and sisters that are watching. Give me the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. Give me another dictionary. Give me any dictionary. So Zondervan, if you go through here, this is a good Bible dictionary, right? For the most part, it's about 70% good. But there's little bones in here. It's just a dictionary. It's not the Bible. Right. So they're not going to give you all the evidence according to the Bible, according to righteousness and the law and the Holy Spirit. They're not doing that. So when we use these historical books, gotta say this more and more nowadays, everything in here is not right. He could tell you, he tells you 1 minute that Ham was the father of the Africans, but not the Negroes, right? But on the other hand, he tells you the Edomites are what? Japheth. You see that? So remember, brothers and sisters, if y'all want to be scholars, the first foundation is the Bible. Is the Bible. Just your regular dictionaries and things that you're using. I got this one here, man. If y'all get a little change, it's not that expensive, but this is the chronological study Bible. really good Bible if you want to be a scholar. It gives you dates. It gives you everything in here. It gives you maps. It gives you a lot of things. It's structured. It's chronological study Bible. So I'm just showing y'all that. And how many books do we use, or you use your apps, and they're not clear, right? That's why we were always taught in Israel, you got to have 3 sources or more. At least 3 sources or more. So when we go to our sources, we're getting more than one source. All right? Zondervan is not the end all be all. All right? So we got to be clear that, and I'm going to say it for all you brothers and sisters that are new, get the Bible down first before you start getting into all these things, because then your foundation will be sure. Don't do it backwards like they're trying to do online now. I want to get all these books, but their spirit can't comprehend the basic biblical things that we're supposed to change and learn. Con? So, just want y'all to, going over these things, man, I don't like going over a lot of history. I like just to go right to the Bible. Because Israel, majority of the time, hasn't even read the Bible one time. Think about it. How many times have you read Genesis to Revelations?
No times.
You see my point? Now, you've been in the truth how long?
7 months.
Okay, fair enough. That was good, though. Okay. You've known of the truth how long?
About 5 years.
Okay, how many times from Genesis to Revelations?
Just once.
One time. You see that? That's just reading Genesis to Revelations. You see, people don't got a good, rounded understanding of Genesis to Revelations. And then they jump into these other books. This is where you see all the crazy doctrines are coming up. Right? It's not coming up from valid, weighty wisdom. It's coming from, I'm jumping the gun on a lot of subjects, and I haven't went into these subjects in their entirety. And I don't know that this scripture over here speaks against what you're bringing out over here. Right? That's how they do it. So, I just want to repeat that to y'all. Finish that up.
And thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away.
Right. His rust altogether have not been wiped away. So, never trust thy enemy. Go to Habakkuk 2 verse 4. Go ahead.
Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 4.
Read.
Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him.
It's talking about the wicked. I know you want to. I'm sorry, but this is what the Most High created, right? You say, but why? I thought we had free will. The Most High created the wicked for the day of destruction. So that's why when a lot of this information comes out, right? You gotta what? Keep digging, keep getting more, right? Especially archaeology, anthropology, and history. You need sources, man. So they're not going to tell the truth. They're not going to give the full information. They're not going to reveal all the facts. They're not going to show you everything that's written on the walls. They're not going to show you that. Right? I remember one thing I was watching about the Egyptians, and bruh, they were going through these images, and they were all black images. You know what I mean? It was about, it was about the Egyptians, but it went into how the Egyptians dealt with sex and how defiled they were. But on the wall, it was Egyptians with their naked, basically. Yeah, but you're not reading of that. You're not thinking about that. But yeah, you think they showing that? How hung these Egyptians are? These black people are? Bruh, I'm serious. You think they showing that? Bro, the white man be mad as hell. They looking at that like, what the heck? These cats was like, bruh, I was like, what the? This is the images. I was like, this is on the wall. But why they ain't promoting those things? Why they ain't showing those things? I know it's a sexual connotation behind it, but why they ain't showing our people those things? Because that empowers the black man. That empowers black people. And they want to keep you thinking what? You're always, what is 3/5? 3/5? 2/5? 1/5? A half? Right? So just to bring that out, man, their soul in them is not lifted up. The soul in them, which is lifted up, is not upright in them. Go from there. No, read down.
But the just shall live by his faith.
Right, us, righteous, the holy, right? If you claim to be a righteous man, a righteous woman, you're going to live by what?
Shall live by his faith.
You're going to live by faith. Go ahead.
Yea, also, because he transgresseth by wine.
Because he do it what?
Because he transgresseth by wine.
Because he transgresseth by wine, right? So what is the wine represents? What?
His influence.
Right. Meaning that when you drink wine, you are under the influence. What does he use to transgress the nations with? His influence, his democracy, demonocracy. Yeah, I looked up the word. I didn't believe it either. It says, you got to find the right dictionary. It says a ruling body of demons. Demonocracy. That's democracy. It says a ruling body. I was like, Yeshaya, you got to show me that one. But it said, now I got to find it again. Those are the things you need to print out and put it on a sign. But it said democracy, ruling body of demons. So that's how they transgress is what? With their demonocracy, right? Go ahead.
He is a proud man.
Right?
Neither keepeth at home.
Right. You're dealing with a nation that steals artifacts, create wars for oil.
Right.
Right? The CIA is always intercepting and moving behind the scenes like the Wizard of Oz. I'm sure there's CIA in here right now. Huh? Yeah. I mean, with us, listen. Y'all think it's a joke. Everybody laugh when I say that all the time. Until we start checking you for what? And mics. No. But you know what? The thing is this, that they come through these schools. They come through Israel. But they watch us online. They set up their algorithm, right? To try to define us. Who's a threat, who's not. Right? They do that. So we have to be aware of this. We can't be naive. Right? Go ahead.
Who enlargeth his desire as hell.
And everything he gathers to himself. How did he gather it to himself? Slaughter, a hellish condition, and that's how he gets things. So when it comes to this history, when it comes to the evidence and the things that they're letting come out, right? Now movies are starting to come out and tell you that in the bottom of the Vatican, they have many things that are hidden. I was just watching this, there's a Netflix series called Archive 81 that just came out. And, you know, it's about basically worshiping aliens, but extraterrestrial beings, basically. And in there, the priest says, he said, you'll be surprised. He said, the Vatican, we have a lot of books. He said, a lot of hidden things that we don't necessarily show. He said this on the thing. They know this. Like, we've been saying that. The Israelites been saying that since the 70s. And everybody's like, oh, you guys are just conspiracy theorists. That's ridiculous. Right? Ruling by democracy, ruling bodies of demons. No. That can't be until you get the evidence and you start studying and the doors start opening and you actually what? open up a book,
Right.
you're like, wait a minute, this is here. This is for real. You see? So the reason I'm going to these scriptures is to remind you, man, that the evidence and these archaeological things that the white man does reveal, he's not going to give you all the information.
Right.
All right? Why? Because his spirit ain't right. Right? He wants to hide things. Right? There's no way in the earth, majority of these white people are not going to say, my God, my Jesus is a nigga. They're not going to say that. They're not going to say it. They're not going to tell little Billy, right? Little Karen. They're not going to tell little Karen that, hey, your God is black. They're never going to do that. Right? It's a small amount. You know what I mean? And then the ones that do, you know what I mean? You got to watch the glitch. So, would you tell your kids that Christ is black? It really don't matter, but I would. Like, okay. You see? Well, just get your ABA or maybe that. Come on, read that.
And is as death.
Right, and it is as death. So that's what they're about. They're about keeping you deaf, not DEF, right? They're about keeping you deaf, man. So you won't hear, you won't see, you won't study, right? You won't be occupied in these things. But I'm going to say it again. First of all, get your foundation sure. If any man build on this foundation, he said it to be sure. The word, the Bible, the scriptures. Okay, go ahead.
And cannot be satisfied.
Right, and the white man, America, cannot be satisfied. That's why they're creating this war. I know you're thinking like, well, that's Putin creating the war. It's not Putin creating the war. Y'all gotta understand. America is 30 steps ahead of you. They 20, 30 years ahead of you. Everybody heard that, right? If they show technology, it's what? 20, 30 years old. Like with Google Maps, they had that in the military 25 years before. They've been had that, right? We're just getting put on, right? So we got to be clear and understand who we're dealing with, right? Don't be naive. Go ahead.
But gathereth unto him all nations.
Yeah, he want to gather to him all the nations. So who is he? He's the Chinese. He's the last samurai. Yeah. It's not the Asian cat over there in Japan is the last samurai. It's Tom Cruise. He's the last samurai. Right? Yeah. Right? He's Rocky. He's Rambo. Right? Right? He's Jesus. He's the 12 apostles. He's the angels. And if there's a goddamn God, right? Then I'm him, right? That's how they believe. They're everybody. It's like them. Who is that? You're everybody. You're the Chinese, you're the Africans, you're the white people. Like, when you look at 10 Commandments, it's all Caucasian people. Like, what the hell happened to the dark-skinned people? That got you thinking what? Everybody really is light-skinned, white, Caucasian, right? So when you look at yourself, you're like, damn, we are the minority. When you realize that black people on the earth, just dark-skinned people is the majority. See? So he gathers unto him all nations, all information, all the knowledge, all the study. Remember, he says he's wise as Daniel in Ezekiel. It says he's wise as Daniel. What did that mean? That meant Daniel, the children, he was a child, but he understood the past, the present, the future. He understood wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. He understood about the sun, the moon, the stars, all these things. That's the white man, right? He understands these things, and he does what? He gathers it all to him and hides it from you. I'm going to give you a little bit. Let me see how you act. They've been had a cure for it. I was thinking about this the other day. They've been had a cure for AIDS. You trying to tell me you've been had a cure for... So, let's hit it with the air quotes, right? Supposedly, right? Supposedly you had a cure for what? The flu. Because that's what corona is, right? So you've been had a cure for this. How long ago? But you just now, all of a sudden, in 2 years, no, we can fix that. We got y'all. Look, we're going to come out with it. Right, we're going to come out with the cure. Now you got all these companies. Well, no, we got the coronavirus cure. Which is a sham, right? Because cats that are taking a shot or what? They still getting sick. But this is what they do. They mix the knowledge with good and evil. They probably do. Do they probably know how to mix and stop this, what is it, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the microbiotics, you know what I mean? And do they know how to stop those things? I believe they do. But are they going to? Huh? No, how are they going to make money if they just got one pill that helps that? Right? If that was the case, they would have let us have access to all the natural herbs and the things where we can heal ourselves. We're dealing with a beast. We're dealing with a deceptive nation of people that they're not trying to hear and do righteousness. Watch. Jump from there. Go to Proverbs 15:35. Go to Proverbs 15:35.
Proverbs chapter 15.
15 and 35. I'm sorry, Job 15:35. I'm looking at it and my brain is... Job 15:35.
Job chapter 15 verse 35.
And we're going to get into this Tel Dan. Go ahead.
They conceive mischief and bring forth vanity.
Uh-huh.
And their belly prepares deceit.
You see that? They conceive mischief. Right? When they get on that table to bear, what's going to come out of them? Lies, deception, falsehood, confusion. Right? They conceive mischief and bring forth what?
And bring forth vanity.
Read.
And their belly prepares deceit.
Their bellies prepare deceit. So there's a lot of information out there, right? That gives credit to you being the 12 tribes of Israel. That gives credit to the historical facts of the Bible. There's a lot, but they're not going to release a lot of it. They're going to release a little bit. They probably had a lot of these things. The only reason why now more and more our people are waking up because the internet, right? The internet is helping that, people learning a lot more, right? But there's good and bad in that, right? Because that's what they're controlling. Me and Shalamaya were just talking about this little Joe Rogan podcast, and they were talking about what Google does, how they control, right? We know Facebook controls the narrative, right? They control what you see. They control what you read, right? They control all that. This is no longer some weird guys in leather robes with leather headbands just talking out of their mouth. This is common. The white people outside that believe in the devil, they know this. Right? So this ain't nothing strange. It should be awakening to us because we're seeing that much more. The Most High already said this way back. That they conceive mischief. They're liars. They are liars. So a lot of the information is hidden. A lot of things, truths, are coming out a little more and more and more, and the Most High is doing that. Right? Not these deceivers. Go to Psalms 10 and 7. Y'all better take good notes on this Tel Dan also. Psalms 10 and 7. Read that.
Psalms chapter 10 verse 7.
Go ahead.
His mouth is full of cursing.
Right.
And deceit and fraud.
You see? America, the so-called white man, a lot of these nations are what? A fraud. They're fraud. It's built on lies, built on falsehood. It's built on deception. right? And it's not about furthering the a dark-skinned agenda. It's just not. It's not. Read it again.
His mouth is full of cursing.
Read.
And deceit.
Read.
And fraud.
Read.
Under his tongue is mischief and vanity.
Yeah, so that's why does it say the soul in him is not upright? Because this is what's in his belly. Right? Death, lies, falsehood, fraud. Psalms 36 and 3. Psalms 36 and 3.
Psalms chapter 36, verse 3.
Uh-huh.
The words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit. He hath left off to be wise and to do good.
Right. You see that? So that's what's in the wicked's mouth. The words of his mouth are iniquity and deceit. He hath left off to be wise, and to do good. Read on.
He devises mischief upon his bed.
Yeah, so there is a high echelon, right, that are contemplating that plan and plot, right? There is a high echelon, right, on many levels and different tiers, right? Yes, you got your garden variety peons, right? You know, like the police force. There's a elite among them. There's a code among them, right? And they hold to that code. What? Code blue, right? I don't care if you're black, you're white, whatever. You know what I mean? But there's a code amongst the white police officers that the black people don't know about, that the Hispanic people don't know about. So there is this deception and devising of mischief. Go ahead.
He set himself in a way that is not good.
Go ahead.
He abhorreth not evil.
He abhorreth not evil. Who are we talking about? Go to John 8:44. John 8:44. Read that.
John chapter 8, verse 44.
And then we're going to get into this Tel Dan Stele. Go ahead.
Ye are of your father the devil.
Right.
And the lust of your father ye will do.
Read.
He was a murderer from the beginning.
We're talking about the spirit of the devil, Satan, deceiver, liar. Right? Yeah, we know this could be in our people too. But we're talking about the nation, America, that perpetuate lies and falsehood and deception and corruption and mischief. Right? That's why they're trying to take it out of the kids' school. That who you are. I was watching little Lester Holtz. You know, I watch my little news things at night. I sound like an old person now, don't I? I watch the news. But anyway, I was looking at the news, and little Lester Holt, they did a little segment on how they're trying to rewrite the history about the so-called Jews. You don't never hear that about us. Never. I'm going to tell y'all which one it is, too, so y'all can go back and catch them. So we can catch them in the lie together. It was the nightly news full broadcast NBC News on the 27th. You know, and they usually give you a nice condensed version on YouTube. But you know what he said? They're trying to paint a different narrative about the so-called Jews. But is anybody ever saying that about the blacks and Hispanics? Like, you're trying to erase critical race theory because you're trying to paint your own narrative, right? Nah. Nobody's fighting for that but us, right? So we're talking about the devil. Now, the devil is not a red person walking around with horns and a tail.
Right.
Stop that. Don't come with that. That's not the devil. Devil means evil, deceiver. This nation has perpetuated deception, lies, falsehood, mischief, fraud. That is the devil, right? Even the devil don't look like that. He didn't come. He didn't come to Eve with no horns and a pitchfork, red as hell. Eve would have then ran away quick. All right. So read on. Finish that.
And abode not in the truth.
Right. We're talking about that man, that nation, that people that what?
And abode not in the truth.
That abode not in truth. They don't follow the truth. They don't, as a nation, they're not trying to push the truth. Right? Are there good white folks that try to, you know what I mean? I say that because if you look online, you hear us say it a lot. There are white people saying, you're not African American, you're the true Jews. But that's what percent? The 3 of them? Maybe 10 on YouTube? I guarantee you. And that was about 6 years back. Let's see if they still in that same mind 6 years now. Right? I mean, y'all know how it is. The YouTube is fickle. 1 minute, person is saying this, and the next week he changed up his belief, right? Okay, so read on.
Because there is no truth in him.
Because there's no truth in him. Right. Go ahead.
When he speaketh a lie,
right,
he speaketh of his own.
When he promotes his lies, they're going to give you information that paints the narrative that falls towards them. He speaketh of himself. Right? Go ahead.
For he is a liar.
Right?
And the father of it.
He's a liar and the father of it. So, once again, we got to keep in mind as we bring out archaeological themes, there's always another side to try to discredit that, discredit the Bible, discredit the facts, discredit the history, discredit all these things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They always talk about the Jewish people, like trying to relate them to when they were in captivity, so they can try to say that they are the people in the book.
Mm-hmm.
They always say that captivity was the Holocaust, and I'm like, that doesn't match with what the book
says. Right.
Their captivity, though. They
right.
weren't brought nowhere from ships and stuff.
Because if we were going to do that, and this is why I always am clear when talking about captivities and Deuteronomy 28. There's many nations that have been enslaved by another nation. So once again, y'all got to know history. Don't be naive. We're talking about, like you just brought up, the specifics of Deuteronomy 28 only happened to one nation. Right? Right. And then it tells you, it goes deep into the specifics. You see that? So that's right on point. All right, now let's get into this Tel Dan Stele. The Tel Dan Stele, it was found in Dan. All right? The Tel Dan Stele was found in Dan. And she's going to put up a little map up there. Now, y'all have the map. Did you have any extra papers?
Yeah, I don't think yeah.
Go get. Did you? Everybody in class should have a map. You got an extra one?
Yeah.
All right, so I can share with him. Because I didn't take none. See, so if you look at this one right here. Don't mind me. I lost it many years back. So if you see right here, and she's going to throw it up there. No, sis, it's the actual map one. Not that one. Go back and look on the desktop. I might have dragged it to the desktop. But I might have dragged it. It looks exactly like this, sis. If not, do Tel Dan and look it up real quick. Tel Dan and look up for this one right here. But anyway, if you look at this map right here, is Dan at the top. You got Kadesh and you got Tyre over here in the corner, right? So that's the Ethiopians. You got Kadesh. See, if y'all understand this, there was still a lot of African people around us. And when you get into that, when you get into Judges, it goes into where Dan was dwelling. There was a lot of nations still there. All right. So now y'all got it up there too. So, that's what we got. So Dan. Now we know Dan. I'm not gonna go into all that. Maybe we can go over that some other time. There's not a lot of evidence. There's a lot of speculation of where Dan ended up. But biblically, I'm not saying Dan was totally eradicated, but for them to grow as a full tribe, you can see biblically it didn't happen, right? We'll talk about that in another time, right? This ain't about Dan. This is just about the stela that was found in Dan, and it was found. Dang, I thought I had it on here. It was found. I remember. It's 1993. They found it. They found it in 1993, and the stela was dated back to the 9th century. I know I know y'all are writing this down, so I'm gonna repeat it again because these are the key points that you want to know. So the Tel Dan Stele was found in 1993 in Tel Dan, right? And it was the actual stone. Now, if you could throw that up there, sis, this is how the stone looks. As you see, the stone was in fragments. You got this paper right here. The stone was in fragments. So it's not a full. You know how you looked at the Misha stone and it was like a lot of information, and then they made duplicates of the Misha stone too. So no, this is just a fragment. Okay, so that's how the stone actually looks. All right. So this was dated back to the 9th century BC. Actually, it was 1993. I got it right here on my face. Discovered in 1993 in Tel Dan, Israel. Okay. All right. So if you go to the paper, you guys got another paper on there, and you got it up there too, sis. This one that shows what was actually written on the Tel Dan Stele. Now, it only got 13 lines. Go to this one right here. It tells you what was literally written on it. Now, the thing is this, that it doesn't give you all of it, but we're going to fill in with some Bible verses because we already know what he's talking about. All right? So, the Tel Dan Stele was an account that King Ahaziel, king of Aram, gave. Okay? This stone, you remember the Misha stone was King Misha's account? This is Hazael, Hazael, king of Aram, okay? Right? Which was the Syrians, right? This is his account. Y'all got that? Okay. So, I'm going to go to the writing real quick. And it says here, I'm going to start from verse 2. You see verse 1 is nothing's really there, right? Verse 1 is nothing. It's uncut, right? So, 2, it says here, my father went up against him. He fought at. So, my father went up. We're going to go to 2 Kings 8. What? You got? I thought you had your hand raised. My father went up and fought against him. Now I'm gonna read it before we go there, because you're saying, well, how do you know what the hell is in there, right? Well, it says, and my father laid down. He went to his ancestors, and the king of Israel entered previously in my father's land, and Hadad made me king. So, how do we know this? What this is talking about? Right there was the giveaway. We're talking about Israel, and we're talking about during the time of Hadad. Hadad was the father of Hazael. So Hadad was the father of Hazael. Okay? These cats were Syrians. They were Syrians. You need some, sis?
2 Kings what?
I'm going to go over it again. We're going to go to 2 Kings 8. 2 Kings 8. Before we go there, we're going to actually go somewhere else. So just hold with me 1 second. I wanted to read a little bit of this. It says, and Hadad went in front of me, and I departed from the 7. And then it comes back, of my kingdom, and I slew 70 kings. Now all this is biblical. This is actual in the Bible. That's how we know it's talking about Hazael, even though his name is not fully in there, because his son was who? I mean, his father was Hadad. We're going to go prove that. Right? It says, I slew 70 kings who harnessed thou sands of sands of Cha, and it says king of Israel. It says here, and I killed Ahaz, and then it says another name, son of Jeroham, right? And then it cuts off. It says of the house of what?
House of David.
House of what?
David.
You see that? So what do we got with the Misha stone and with this? They're both pointing out the house of David. And now, I know we're going to go back to the scriptures. I just wanted to kind of read a little bit so y'all could, because it's pointless to say, well, yeah, this coincides with the Bible. You didn't even read what's on the stone here, right? So this right here, switch over to this, sis. So this right here is on the stone. This right here is a close-up of the stone. Now, what writing is this on the stone? It's Hebrew. What they might refer to it as what? Phoenician, right? Because the Phoenicians used this writing during that time. And once again, they don't want to credit us with what? Anything, right? But you see how when you learn this writing, when you take the test, you're able to read the stones. All these stones dated back to, this stone is dated back to the 9th century. You're reading and studying like archaeologists. Imagine that, to be able to go through a stone. I seen it when they pointed it out. I was like, oh yeah, it says it right there. It says, by Yatha Dawayad. Bayath Dawayad. House of David. Right on the stone. Right? But this is because, this is why you study for your tests. Right? You're not learning. Yes, you can learn modern Hebrew. Good. That's for like books nowadays. Right? Hand me this right here. Like this biblical Hebraica. This is just all modern. This ain't ancient. This is all modern. The Bible written in Hebrew, but modern Hebrew. The only ones that's written in the house of David did a ancient Hebrew Bible. I think it's just, isn't it just the New Testament? I think it might just be the Old Testament, excuse me. You cut off some things there, sis. When you expanded that, it's cutting off actually what it's saying on there. So you got to fix that. So once again, if y'all look at this, you got a ba, ya, tha. Bayah, that means house. And then you got da, wa, da, right? Which is David. Dawiyah, yeah.
You can see though on the first line, it says Malak Yasharala.
Right.
That's king of Israel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You see that? Now, you know how many people are trying to read these artifacts? Bro, it's rare. It's rare for you to know this. And we just our basic understanding. That's why I got my kids on it now, studying their tests now. They're going to be able to read these stones and say, nah. See, when you can engage in somebody and say, listen, do you read Hebrew? That's what I told old girl. Y'all didn't see the full interview with me and old girl. But I said, do you read Hebrew? She was like, no. I was like, well, we can't. Like, you don't know what you're talking about then. Right? What's the best thing? And I said, okay, do you use your Bible app? I was like, you can use that, right? So, just to show y'all that on the stone, once again, just like the Misha stone, it's telling us about what? The house of David. So, what does that mean? Somebody tell me about that. What does that mean? The Misha stone talks about David and these other kings. This Tel Dan stone talks about David and other kings. What does that mean? Yeah.
It means that when someone's trying to say that these characters in the Bible are fictional,
Well.
that's not true.
Right. Now you got proof, evidence, history that shows, nah, we got facts.
Right.
We got outside biblical, because that's how they act. We got outside biblical facts that show that the Bible is true. Y'all see that? That David wasn't a fictional character that was made up like Iron Man. Right? Like Thor. Right? Like Spider-Man. No. David was an actual man. He actually had a line and lineage of people. Right? And I didn't even catch that right there at the top. Malak Yasharala. Ain't that a trip? I didn't catch that one because I was looking at the highlighted part. They highlighted. But see, this is the thing why study to show thyself approved. The little basics that we're giving y'all on the Hebrew test, when you study for it, you start to see, man, don't y'all know that I remember my Hebrew from when I was 15 years old. I don't go over that Hebrew. At 15, I took this test, the soldier's test, and I passed it. I never forgot the Hebrew then. That's why I'm trying to get my kids on it now, because it sticks with you. You know what I mean? Now, I do gotta update the Assyrian, the modern day Hebrew, like some words, some letters. I'm like, I'm not sure what that letter is. But the ancient Hebrew, I could write that right now, out from Adazah, right? Adatha, excuse me. Right? I can write that right now. And I don't go over that. I don't study that. So if y'all get it, if you study it now, especially y'all kids, this stuff sticks with you. You know what I mean? And when you got to take 3 tests, and I think all 3 of them have the Hebrew on it. Or is it 2? It's only 2, right? 2 of them have the Hebrew on it. The soldiers and the officer 50. Right? You have it down. You have it down. So, all right. So now that we got that down, everybody's clear that that this has brought out the evidence that King David was around. Who else do we got in here? We're going to talk about Ahab, Joram, right? We got a few. There's 8 kings in here it speaks of. 8 of them. So we're going to bring out those 8 kings, all right, and the information on them so you can know who it's talking about. So the first king, right, which is the main character in here, which was Hazael, the son of Hadad. Okay, the son of Hadad. Go to 1 Kings 19 and 15. 1 Kings 19 and 15. Go ahead and read that.
1 Kings chapter 19, verse 15.
Go ahead.
And the Lord said unto him,
Right.
Go, return thy way to the wilderness
Right.
of Damascus.
Right.
And when thou comest, anoint Hazael.
So he was talking to Elijah. I always get these two mixed up. Double check that. I just literally left off from reading that.
Yeah, listen.
It's Elisha.
Come.
So he was talking to Elisha and saying, listen, when you on your way back, you're gonna do what?
Anoint Hazael
Uh-huh.
to be king over Syria.
Right. Check that out. Y'all didn't catch it, did y'all? You caught it? What you call?
It says, anoint Hazael to be king over Syria.
So what is he saying?
I mean, it confirms with that.
Oh yeah, before we get to the confirmation that it's on the stone, biblically, what are you finding out? What? He was what? He was anointed by an Israelite. The Most High was finna use Hazael. So he had Elisha go what? Anoint him and confirm that he was going to be king over Assyria. Because when you read in here, the Most High was going to use the Syrians against Israel. You see that? Now, is that foreign? You said lie. Why? Why, Amawani? You said no. Why? There's several kings that the Most High said, look, of the other nations that said you're going to rule. The Most High uses whoever he wants. Right? I know. You're like, whoa. He don't deal with the other nations. No. He don't deal with them as far as he didn't give them the laws. He didn't give them that covenant. But he deals with the other nations. Don't be naive and slow. He deals with the other nations. You think he just lets them go do whatever the hell they want to do? No. When the Most High wants to intervene, what did he do to Pharaoh? He intervened. Right? And then it tells you in Romans 9, he did what? He let him get puffed up. He used him. Then it said when he got puffed up, he did what? He hardened his heart. Right? So the Most High used anybody and everybody to his will. Right? We're gonna still go over this free will class. I gotta go over that in its entirety. But when the Lord wants to intervene, he will intervene. He gives you free will. But when he wants to step in, he's your father. He can step the hell in. All right? So, where are you at? 1 Kings what?
That was 19 and verse 15.
Right. Read it one more time.
And the Lord said unto him, Go, return on thy way to the wilderness of Damascus.
Right.
And when thou comest, anoint Hazael to be king over Syria.
Anoint Hazael to be king over Syria. So Hazael was son to Ben-Hadad. Right? Okay, so we got that clear, right? Now, let's go to what he said. He said what? This is confirmation. What is written on the stone is correct. We're only on line 2 though. Right? We know about all the other stuff, but you got the evidence now. You got the facts. You're able to politic with somebody. You know what I mean? And when I'm bringing this out, I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. So in conversation, you can go in politics with somebody and say, listen, do you know about the Moabite stone, the Tel Dan stone, the Manetta stone? There's like a grip of stones that you can pull history for Israel, archaeology. You could just hit them right on the spot. And most people, they're going to be like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. Well, I thought your whole foundation for this argument is that It's not real, right? Well, what makes it real? So we're talking about the account and the historical evidence, right? Okay, well then let's bring out the historical evidence. All right, what you got? Well, most people can't politic with you on that. They got to go to YouTube, spend a few hours, right? They're not getting no books. They're not actually researching, right? They're not actually seeing if it's the truth, the truth, right? Why is this one easy? Because we got the Bible, right? In my squeaky voice, we got the Bible, right? So this was a no-brainer. We got the facts that coincide and that say, look, Hazael was the son of Ben-Hadad. So we got two kings there. Hazael, Ben-Hadad, I think is the second. They were kings of Aram. What? Who? Hand. I seen a hand. Yeah.
No, I was saying when they're trying to argue with you, they always go to the well, where's all the bodies? Where's the body of everybody that they talk about in the Bible?
Right, and that's why. Where did I go to? What's the first thing that I went to? The lies. They're not going to show you the bodies. They're not going to show you where the true land is. They're not going to line it up the correct way. They're not lining it up the correct way. They're not going to show you the bodies. That's what the devil's about. They're not going to give you all the information because a lot of these bodies, they're bone struck. It's like, because once again, doing this research, a lot of like people that were dead in the past, it's like, why their bone structure look like that, right? Where's the features that it really looks like our people, right? They're not showing that. That brings doubt to you. If you've seen every person that was wrapped up, mummified, if they had Middle Eastern, like what you think out there now are Caucasian features, you're thinking like, oh, they were Caucasian then. You see, you can't put it all together then. See, but that's why I said, if your foundation is the scriptures tell you what? They were dark-skinned. They had Negroid features. Their hair was woolly, right? These people in this time, whether Moses had to disguise himself to be the Egyptian son, right? Joseph also was in Egypt, right? And couldn't even be noticed by his own brothers whether he was Egyptian or Israelite, right? They didn't even know that was him. They just thought he was a regular what? Egyptian. You see that? So they're not going to show these things. They're not. First of all, they don't want to show it, and they're not putting it together biblically. Y'all get this? All right. So that was around. Listen, I'm gonna say around because you know some dates are off. Maybe 2 or 3 years. That was around 841 to 800 BC. 841 to 800 BC. So we got the confirmation in, what was that scripture?
1 Kings chapter 19 and verse 15.
We got the confirmation that what? That these characters are real. Biblically, it's there. So even though we have a broken stone, this is like child's play, right? We got to go to broken stones to try to prove our history and that the word of God is true. But that's what you got out there, right? Remember, and I meant to pull it on this class too. The scriptures say the earth shall help the woman. It's the artifacts like such that is literally going to help us out. All right, so I know it's childish. It's like we're damn pulling rocks that we were just like we wrote things on them, and we're talking about. Oh, that's an artifact. It's a rock, bro. It's a rock that he wrote on to do what? They weren't thinking like, man, this is going to be an artifact in 1,000 years. They were like, listen, I'm finna write down how I boasted of my conquering these nations, right? And I'm gonna put it in front of the like when you look at and you go to libraries or you go to Washington D.C. right? And I know y'all that been there. Don't they have stones like this with things written on them? Do you be like, those are artifacts? No, you be like, oh, they wrote something about Lincoln. Like in 100 years, right? When Abraham Lincoln Monument is destroyed and it's in pieces, are we gonna pick up the rocks and be like, we gotta save this? It's an artifact. No, it ain't no artifact. This is just man, the white man does that because why? This is how they solidify history. This is how they promote to you like what is real and what is not. And then they control the narrative of that. How much we're going to put out, how much we're not going to put out. What we're going to give credit to, what we're not going to give credit to, right? So y'all got to see this, man. All right. So that was 1 Kings 19 and 15. Let's jump over to 1 Kings 8, verse 7 down to verse 15. Right here. 1 Kings 8, verse 7 down to verse 15. Go ahead.
1 Kings chapter 8, verse 7. For the cherubim spread forth their two wings over the place of the ark.
I'm sorry. Bro. 2 Kings. Forgive me, y'all. It's 2 Kings.
8 and 7?
Yeah, sorry. 2 Kings 8, verse 7 down to verse 15.
2 Kings chapter 8, verse 7. And Elisha came to Damascus, and Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria.
Right, so now it's jumping a little bit to his father, right? So we're talking about that Ben-Hadad, which when you read here on the stone, it says, right, in my father's land, and Hadad made me king, right? So his father made him king. You see that? So you see how, right, with the scriptures, so that means Hadad, that's another king, right? Oh, no, we got two so far, right? Hazael and his father, right? What you was going to say?
Yeah, because it says in line 3 of the skills.
Right.
And my father lay down and went to his ancestors.
Right.
That means
He died. Right. Meaning that on his bed he made him king and he died. Y'all see that? Okay. All right. So where we at?
2 Kings chapter 8, verse 7. And Elisha came to Damascus, and Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, was sick. And it was told to him, saying, the man of God is come hither. And the king said to Hazael, take a present in thy hand, and go meet the man of God, and inquire of the Lord by him, saying, wait
a minute. Are y'all getting this? What are you getting?
The nations knew who were inquiring of the Most High. They knew of the Most High.
There's moments where Gentiles what? Knew where to go. They knew we got to go to the Israelite power. Because first of all, Elisha went and anointed him king, right? So he told him ahead of time, you were going to be king, right? So now you got them searching and saying, wait a minute, this came to pass, this happened. Now, once again, you got to read the story to understand that the Most High was using them, right? But he was still dealing with them for his purpose. Y'all see that? Elisha didn't go over there and be like, man, y'all stinky Armenians. Y'all dirty. Right? That's who they would be today, the Armenians, right? And you know that, bro, they be like they don't take showers, right? But he didn't do that. He said it's things like this, man, that a lot of Hebrew Israelites miss out on. They're not watching obviously every Hebrew Israelite is going to bring out the point that the Most High used them for his purpose, right? But what they don't look at is that the Most High had the prophets deal with them. And how did they deal with them? How did Christ deal with Herod? Who was it? Herod, right? Or excuse me, Pontius Pilate. How? Did he come to him and tell him he was a stinky Edomite? Right? You're a dirty heathen. You know what I mean? And how dare you come in my presence? I'm the Son of the Most High. Right? No, he didn't deal like that. We dealt with the nations with wisdom and understanding. We weren't lighting off and shooting shots every time we deal with a nation. You know what? You're a heathen. You're dirty. You're stinky. You're smelly. On the way out, you're like doo-doo. You're nothing to us. We didn't do that, y'all. So let's get off of that mentality and look through the gospel and see that, yes, the Most High gave us the law, statutes, and commandments that raised us up above all nations on the face of the earth to show the nations on the face of the earth that we are above, not to come down to that beastly level and then say, oh, we're above you. No, be above them. And if you're saying, well, yeah, Chaazaqya, but David killed the nation. But David had friends of the nations. Solomon had friends with the nations. Right? He said he had an affinity with Haran. And he even married his daughter, an Egyptian woman. Right? So there was ways we dealt with the Gentiles. I know I'm saying that for the ones that look at street speaking and think the only way we deal with the nations is by cursing them out or calling them Hamites. You don't deal with nobody like that. You don't supposed to deal with nobody like that. Nations or Israel. Right? The scriptures don't tell you that. We didn't do that. David didn't do that. Think about it. Just go through the Bible. You start to see that, damn, where am I getting this from? You're getting this from some zealot that's overzealous that think it's about what? No, he thinks it's about race banging. It's not about race banging. It's about everybody gets this. Right? Everybody's going to be told. It's not just about the Gentiles being banged down. It's about the truth. Right? So when I talk about Esau, it's not personal. It's biblical, right? It's not personal. It's just facts, historical facts that you are a liar. Right? You're deceptive, you destroyed, you rape, rob, murder. Like, it's not personal. You know what I mean? Right? Just like when you pull us out the car and put our teeth on the curb. It's nothing personal, right? You know we don't need to be here, so you what? You just break our damn neck and shoot us, right? The same way, yeah.
No, I was saying some of those tribes that, some of those camps that promote all that confrontation with the other nations, they could have been infiltrated by the CIA too, like, to make us look bad or bad name.
That is the case sometimes, sis, but we can't blame everything on Esau and the FBI. It's ex-weed heads that got the Bible that don't learn that there's a standard biblically. Like when you look at the office of a bishop, Elijah, Elisha, you know what I mean? All the men of the Bible. That's what it is. I'm not going to blame it on the CIA and the FBI all the time. Like, it's some of these brothers that want to be part of something and think this is it's about being in a group. And then now you're still acting like a thug, a street coon, and you come in and you want to be part of something and you're adding to that. The scripture said we're the kings and priests. Show me where kings and priests act like some of us see. It didn't happen. Once again, go through the Bible. You start to see the character of the men on how they did. Joseph, him being up there with the Egyptians. Well, you think he was over there looking at them like the whole time? He was in command. Though you think he was like, you dirty Hamites? Like, no. He lived. Right? Who goes to work and does that? You know what I mean? Nah, don't hand me nothing. Put it there on the table. Nah, I don't want your skin to touch me, you dirty ass Hamite. Like, nobody does that. And I'm sure no brother actually does that. But that's the thinking, the outlook almost like that, yeah, we got to deal with them this way. That's totally incorrect. We're not supposed to do that. So, very good point. Elisha dealt with the king of Hadad, King Hazael, right? And he anointed Hazael, right? Go ahead.
2 Kings chapter 8, verse 8.
Uh-huh.
And the king said unto Hazael, take a present in thy hand, and go meet the man of God.
Right.
And inquire of the Lord by him.
Right. Go meet the man of God and listen, go to him because we got to know what's going on. We got to lock in and figure out what's going to happen. Is it going to fall on our part? They ain't stupid. They try to make sure they make the right moves to reign. Go ahead.
Say, shall I recover of this disease?
Uh-huh. So you hear what he said? Shall I what?
Shall I recover of this disease?
Go ahead.
So Hazael went to meet him and took a present with him, even of every good thing of Damascus.
Mm-hmm.
40 camels burdened with, 40 camels burdened, and came and stood before him.
Right.
And said, thy son Ben-Hadad, king of Syria, hath sent me to thee, saying, shall I recover of this disease? And Elisha said unto him, go say unto him, thou mayest certainly recover. Howbeit, the Lord hath showed me that he shall surely die. Yeah,
you're going to recover for this, but your death is coming. Right? You stinky heathen? Huh? I don't even know why I'm talking to you anyway. Huh? You know, right? Did he go off on him? Start cursing him out like a street cheetah? Huh? No, he didn't do that. He dealt with him with wisdom, and he told him the truth. That's another thing Esau and they get mad about. Because we do tell the truth. Now it's like, oh, you know what? You hate us. You're a racist. You're not going to manipulate this. Nah. We're going to speak the truth, and you're not going to manipulate this. I don't got to be a bigot to tell you the truth to your face. You know what I mean? Hell yeah, we're going to keep telling you. So even in that too, we can't let them paint the narrative and control us. And we can't let Israelites that don't know how to act paint the narrative and control us either. Right? Go ahead.
Verse 11.
Uh-huh.
And he settled his countenance steadfastly until he was ashamed. And the man of God wept.
Right. In the New Revised Version, it said that he stared at him until he realized that basically it was time to go. So he just looked at him and was like, remember that picture of P. Diddy and that one cat? He stared at him, they just looking at each other. So he just stared at him like, yeah, this is finna happen. This is real. Read.
And Hazael said, why weepeth my Lord? And he answered, because I know the evil that thou wilt do unto the children of Israel.
See? So remember what I was saying earlier, that why the Most High is dealing with the Syrians? Because he knew what was going to happen. Right? He knew what the Most High was using them for. Right? Go ahead.
Their strongholds wilt thou set on fire. And their young men wilt thou slay with the sword.
Right.
And will dash their children and rip up their women with child.
Yeah. Whew. Most High, man, he moves the pieces, don't he? That's what y'all got to understand. You cannot escape. Right? The best thing to do is what? Humble. Just humble down, lock into the Most High and say, you know what? I'm going to follow your method. That when I was going over it earlier, I was like, man, this just makes you not want to do anything wrong. Like when you're going through the kings, I was just going through the different kings and I'm like, I'm like, wow. It was like King Asa, and it was like it said he still had a foot problem. And I'm like, okay, but he wasn't taken out like the other kings. He said they were going to lick, the dogs were going to lick his blood off the curb, and because he was so wicked. And I'm like, wow, the Most High he's not playing. We got to understand why the wicked are taken out the way they are. Why the Most High deals with the wicked the way they do. They don't got no mercy, right? I was looking at certain things like it said this prophet, his eyes, he couldn't really see. Then I said Asa, his feet were hurting. I'm like, okay, so they're dealing with lifely infirmities as priests and prophets, as righteous men. But what was the difference between the wicked? They went out viciously, bruh. Right? They went out with no mercy. I said to myself, man, it's better to be on the side of the Most High. It's better to be locked in and figuring out what you're doing wrong and start changing and doing it right. All right, so we're getting this, right? What verse are you at?
Verse 13.
You're going to go down to verse 15 and jump to verse 28. Go ahead.
And Hazael said, but what is thy servant a dog, that he should do this great thing?
Right.
And Elisha answered, the Lord hath showed me that thou shalt be king over Syria.
Right. You see what he said? Am I a dog? Like, that kind of like, am I going to really do this? And he's like, yeah, you're going to do it. Go ahead.
Verse 14. So he departed from Elisha and came to his master, who said to him, what said Elisha to thee?
Mm-hmm.
And he answered, he told me that thou shouldest surely recover. And it came to pass on the morning that he took a thick cloth and dipped it in water and spread it on his face so that he died.
You hear this? Hey, he killed his father. He's like, listen, let me take this old man out, man. He dipped the rag in water and did what? What do they do nowadays? Waterboarded him. He just killed him to take his stand. So you see how in tune Elisha was? He already knew this cat was off. He was like, I already know what you're going to do. Go ahead.
And Hazael reigned in his stead. Verse 28?
Yeah, jump to verse 28.
2 Kings chapter 8, verse 28. And he went with Joram, the son of Ahab, to the war against Hazael, the king of Syria.
Right, now. So we're now learning Hazael, Ben-Hadad, his father. We're learning about, in line 4, it says here, previous to the land, Ahab, king of Israel. Right? And Jehoshaphat, I'm sorry, hold on. I'm in the wrong one. It says here, because I got two different, right, and verse 7, it says, and slew 70 kings, in verse 6, or line 6, excuse me, y'all. I slew 70 kings and harnessed thousands of chariots and thousands of horsemen. I killed Joram, son of Ahab, king of Israel. And I killed Ahaz, son of Jehoram, right? King of the house of David. You see that? So, you see how many kings is naming? Okay, so Ahab, the time period he ruled was 874 to 853 BC. So you got this interaction between the Syrians and Israel, right? (874 to 853 BC). Right, he was Ahab was the king of Israel. Jezebel's husband, yeah. He was the animal. He was whipped by Jezebel She was running them, yeah. Then you got Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, right? Which was 872 to 848. Okay, so you're going to read the 28th verse again.
2 Kings chapter 8, verse 28.
Mm-hmm.
And he went with Joram, the son of Ahab, to the war against Hazael, the king of Syria, in Ramoth Gilead.
So Joram, right? We just read that, right? On the stone? Where did I just do with that? Sure. Oh, is it line 7? Read it.
It says, riots and thousands of horsemen, I killed Joram, son of Ahab.
Right. You see that? So you got Israelites written on these stones, kings. That ain't all made up, y'all. You see this? So that's the significance and the importance of bringing out these little themes. Like I said, man, I'm trying to mix it up. So I know history can be a little boring, but let's just simplify it. It matches up with the Bible. Listen, at y'all age, bruh, you be killing cats in your teacher, you know what I mean? Atheists. Cause, bruh, you go through this, through the Moabite stone, through the Tel Dan stone, they be like, how'd you know about that? They remember, they think you're naive, you're slow, you know what I mean? But you bring in this little history, man, it hits them. Oh yeah, I read on that, I studied on that. I write Hebrew. They were like, well, are you Jewish? No, I'm not Jewish, I'm a Jew.
Right?
Right? Right, so, all right, where we at? Did you finish that? Go ahead.
And the Assyrians wounded Joram.
Right.
Verse 29.
Right. No, that's it on that. Now go to 1 Kings. Did we go to 20 and 20 yet? 1 Kings 20 and 20. First Kings 20 and 20. Go ahead.
1 Kings chapter 20 and verse 20.
Mm-hmm.
And they slew every one his man.
All right.
And the Syrians fled. And Israel pursued them.
Right.
And Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, escaped on a horse with the horsemen.
Mm-hmm.
And the king of Israel went out and smote the horses and chariots.
Mm-hmm.
And slew the Syrians with a great slaughter.
Right.
And the prophet came to the king of Israel and said unto him, Go, strengthen thyself, and mark, and see what thou doest. For at the return of the year of the king of Syria will come up against thee.
Mm-hmm.
And the servants of the king of Syria said unto him, Their gods are gods of the hills. Therefore, they were stronger than we.
Mm-hmm.
But let us fight against them in the plain.
Right. So you got the Most High using Israel to take this cat out, but moving in Hazael to take out who? Israel. That's what you're seeing. The Most High uses kings, men, kingdoms. He raises them up and brings them down. Y'all get this? Right. What verse are you at?
I'm at verse 23.
Okay, you went over a little bit. All right. Hold on. Let me see if I can. And what y'all need to do is go and read. Truthfully, y'all just read 1 Kings and 2 Kings. Right? You start to. It's really yeah. I mean, because 1 Kings it ain't till maybe the 18th, 17th chapter, all the way through to the 2 Kings. But what y'all need to do is just read the whole chapters and kind of get an understanding of how all these kings start falling in line, right? Because there was a lot a lot of what we were doing was linking up with these kingdoms, right? Agreeing with them. It wasn't like David, he was running them. A lot of them, we were obedient to them and slaves to them, right? So, all right, let me check this other one real quick. Go to 2 Chronicles. (22) in verse 5.
2 Chronicles chapter 22 and verse 5.
Uh-huh.
He walked also after their counsel.
Right.
And went with
Jehoram.
Jehoram, the son of Ahab.
Right.
King of Israel, to war against
Hazael. Right. So remember, that's the cat we're dealing with. Right. Go ahead. King of Syria. Go ahead. Ramoth Gilead. Uh-huh.
And the Syrians smote
Joram. And the Syrians what?
Smote Joram.
So does that goes right with the stone? He said what? That he killed Joram. Okay, and that's verse line 8. And I killed Ahaziah, son of Joram, king of the house of David. Y'all see that? Okay. So you guys got Hazael reign from 841 to 800. Did I give y'all that? He reigned from 841 to 800 BC. His father then you got Ahab. He reigned from 847 to 853. These are all the ones we're reading about on this stone, right? 874 to 853 BC. Right? Then you got Joram, king of Israel. He reigned from 852 to 841 BCE. Ahaziah, king of Judah. He reigned from, 841 BCE. Let me see here. I gotta double check that, Isaiah. Yeah, so basically he didn't reign a long time. Before, huh?
841 BC?
841 BC. Yeah. BC is what? Like before before the common era, or they say before Christ. Right? So it's when Christ came, they started 1, 2, 3. Every numbers before, they kind of went backwards. Yeah. So in AD is what? After death, but it's also we gotta look that one up because I'm gonna butcher it. So okay, so we got Ahaziah, king of Judah. You got that one. Then you got Jehoram, which was from 853 to 841 BCE. And then it mentioned who? Of course, David, right? He reigned 1010 to 970 BC. So these are the ones that are named on here. Now, when you go down to number 11, now we don't have to read about David. We know that David was there. And the only thing he mentions David was through his son's line. So, right? He said he killed his son. Or, no, he said he came through the line of David. Excuse me. The line of David, right? When you go down to line 11, it says Jehu, king of Israel, right? Or 9, it says, the house of David, and I set their towns into ruins and turned their lands into desolations. And then it says Jehu of Israel, right? Go to 2 Kings 9 and 24. Just to show you what, it matches. The name of the people on the stone. The story on the stone matches exactly what the Bible says. The Bible is a history book. It wasn't made up by some white guy or written by Shakespeare. Right? Right? Oh, King James wrote the Bible. No, King James did not write the Bible. He was a king. All he did was ordain a translation of the Bible. So this was already written on stones before King James. All right, what?
What was the date for Jehoram?
Jehoram was 853 to 841 BC. And if you see, now that y'all got the names, this is what you do. You go back and when you read First Kings and 2 Kings, you say, oh, this is where he fits in at. This is what he was doing during that time, right? Obviously, we know what was going on. The king of Syria was going through whipping them, going to war with them, and killing some of them, right? And when you go back, Hadad died in battle too. He died in battle. Was it Hadad? Dang. I think it was Hadad. His father died in battle. So that's what's going on here. All right. So we're talking about Jehu, the last one. 2 Kings 9:24 to 28. Wow, that's right on time. Right on time. Go ahead.
2 Kings chapter 9 and verse 24.
Go ahead.
And Jehu drew a bow with his full strength.
Right.
And smote Jehoram between his arms. And the arrow went out at his heart. And he sunk down in his chariot.
Mm-hmm.
Then said Jehu to Bidkar, his captain, take up and cast him in the portion of the field of Naboth, the Jezreelite.
Mm-hmm.
For remember how that when I had rode together after Ahab his father, the Lord laid his burden upon him. Verse 26. Surely I have seen yesterday the blood of Naboth, and the blood of his son, said the Lord. And I will requite thee in this plot, saith the Lord. Now therefore, take and cast him into the plot of the ground, according to the word of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And when Azariah, the king of Judah, saw this, he fled by the way of the garden house.
Right. So that goes back to what we were talking about, just about Ahaziah, right? Which is on the stone, right? Okay. We're talking about they were going to war with each other. Jehu and who was it? No, Jehoram, right. Joram, excuse me. Right, remember, he was the king of Israel. So now you got them warring against each other. Like that's literally like a lot of when you go through Kings, 2 Kings, it was like us warring with each other, warring with the nations. a lot of division, serving other gods, not being consistent in our heart and our mind. What verse are you at?
Verse 26.
Go ahead.
Verse 27, second. But when Azariah, the king of Judah, saw this, he fled by the way of the garden house. And Jehu followed after him and said, smite him also in the chariot. And they did so at the going up to Gur, which is by Iblam. And he fled to Migdol and died there. And his servants carried him in the chariot to Jerusalem and buried him in his sepulchre with his fathers in the city of David.
Right. So, y'all got all the characters on this stone and where they fit in at. Right? Yeah, that was it. There's nothing else after that. Did I simplify it for y'all? I didn't want to overcomplicate it, right? Give y'all the dates that matches these individuals. Link it up with the Bible, right? Was it clear to y'all? Because if it's clear to the kids, it's clear, all right? What?
Did you have the dates for Jehu when he reigned?
Jehoram, right? Or Jehu. It was 841 to 814 BC. And that, that 2 Kings 9 and 24 goes with that. Right? Yeah. Remember, this was only a fragment. So it wasn't that much in depth, but it's still named 8 kings. Think about it. It's still named 8 kings just in that little information, right? And so you take the 8 kings back to the dates with the Bible, the time linked with the Bible, it's perfect. It matches right. Yeah, sis.
Where was Jehu king of?
Jehu was king of Israel. Yeah. Yeah.
I like even going from the Moabite stone also to the
Tel Dan.
The Tel Dan.
Yeah.
It also shows that that's not a made-up language. The Paleo Hebrew.
Thank you, Rod.
You get that a lot too.
Thank you. Ariel came up with that language. Now, I got you. Check this out. So they know the writing is real. Well, how do you prove the dialect? Right? When you show them this, right, it's on the stones. That this ain't made up. Like, we didn't just, the Hebrew Israelites, coming back to our knowledge, we didn't just make that up. Like, High Priest Ariel just came up with this, right? So we know the writing is real. How do we know the dialect? Abagada Hawaza Chaazaqya. Right? Yeah.
Well, according to the way they say they say left.
Right. But how do we prove that the right dialect?
But when you have shadows on the cross, he cried Abba, Father.
There you go.
So, Abba.
The two letters in the Hebrew. Abba. Abagada Hawaza. The dialect is not wrong. Y'all see that? So you're not learning some made up, you guys just came up with that in your basement. See, these cats never study, They never study. They never really get in there that's why a lot of those statements are made, right? They never really research, because if they would have said, wait a minute, no, this is writing. I didn't bring it, but I got that biblical encyclopedia thing, and when you go into there, it tells you the Old Phoenician, and it has the Hebrew, and then it has the dialect right next to it. Yeah.
What about numbers? I don't think you ever talk about numbers.
Like the book of Numbers?
No, Hebrew, like.
Oh, Numbers. We can go into that. Like, we can go into that, but you know Numbers. Like the brother Chaazaqya, his full name is Chaazaqya what? Echad is one, right? O is O-N-E. Now the number one would just be Number 1 would be A. No, number 2 would be Ba. God, Da, Ha, right. You do your numbers like that. And then you come back at 11, you might say Ah. That would be your numeric number, right? If you were going to write it down. Then you go back, if you wanted to write out O-N-E, just so you can understand it in the English version, you will write Achad, Shanya, Shalash, Arabai, Kamash, Shashash, Shabai, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You see that? Okay. Yeah, but once again, once you learn the basics on the test I got you going on, the soldier's test is gonna get you into the Hebrew, and then you're gonna be able to go into the basic stuff we got and learn so much. You learn so much off of those basics. Yeah. All right, because it tells you how to speak and all that. All right. So, all right, that's it. Does anybody? Yeah.
I have my numbers written in a notebook. I just been in my notebook. I'm gonna show
Right. Well, my Willa got to study like if you got the numbers, he got to get the numbers down. What?
I got the numbers too.
You got the numbers too, right? Yeah, y'all all got it. Some of you, do y'all know it? Oh, you know your numbers?
I don't know all of them.
But you starting to know. Yeah, it's perfect time. To what?
3,000.
There you go. What's how do you say 22?
I got it written down.
Oh, you got it written down? Okay. All right. Well, y'all need to know that. Listen. You're how? You're starting at 12. How old are you? You're starting at 8. That means by the time you get 12, you should be on point with your character, your standard spiritually, and you're going to have your studies down, right? So y'all kids just got to keep understanding that why you're learning the knowledge. This isn't about mom and dad. This is about your connection with the Most High. So, all right, does anybody got any questions or anything on the topic? Right. I told myself when I go over these things, I didn't want to make it hard. I wanted to make it sound real basic and easy. All right. So hopefully I did that. Listen, if y'all keep these things, look. Last time we went around and we gave the papers, we gave the information, and guess where I found them at? Yep. You did me like Tyrone down the blocks. When we give him a flyer. Right. He ball it up, what? And use it to roll a blunt on it. Right? That's how y'all did me, man. I printed out. We used the ink. And guess what? Where they at? It was on the floor right after. If y'all are smart, you would take it, throw it in your little manila envelope or paper, and then you add your notes to it. Now, you don't have to read. In the future, if Yahushua doesn't bring Russia down hard on America and America doesn't do its thing within the next few years, you're going to be teaching and you're going to need this information. Like I said, it's an easy killer when dealing with somebody when they don't believe in the Bible. Well, I'm going to bring you from the history to the Bible. That's how you do it. Yeah, sis.
Here's a question online.
Yeah.
Where could we go to start learning Hebrew?
Well, what we want to do, and because we got a good amount of people just here in Houston, is start back with it in class, in Sabbath class. So what we were doing was we were doing the basics in Sabbath class. The problem is that it's always so much of a fluctuation. We need consistency. You know what I mean? Now, I would do it here because I look at the faces in here. Y'all been consistent. 6 months to a year, we know you're not a part-time lover. But who's asking that? Samar, right. So just come to Sabbath class. We want to start going back over it. And we got to coordinate with Houston and start back over the 8 alphabets or the abagadas, and then we can get into all that, right? And then to get you started, and then you can start studying yourself. All right. What else we got on there? What other questions? He had.
So what is Tel Dan?
So Tel Dan was the location they found this stone in 1993. Right? It was in Dan. The map. I know y'all don't got the map. She did put it up there. You might have caught it late, but it tells you where's that? Right, the map is right over here. Dan was above Kadesh, and that's where Dan is. If you even Google it, Dan, it'll give you a map, and it'll show you where Dan used to dwell, and that's where they found this stone at. They found it in Tel Dan, Israel. All right. That was for Gamaliel. Who else is on there? Any other questions?
No, that's it.
Okay, so yeah, that was a good one, man. Any other questions outside of what we went over? Yes, ma'am.
My son wanted to ask a question, but he said that he wanted to ask after class.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. All right, if that's it, we're gonna go ahead and conclude class. We're on a weather watch, right? Hopefully, I don't think it's gonna get all that crazy. They talk about 2 inches, 2 to 5 inches. Let's see, because if it's 2 inches, is it just wet out there? Okay. Well, we'll know in a few hours if it's gonna come down and get. We already had somebody get in an accident, and we don't want that to happen again. All right. And I mean, just literally the last snow situation. So we don't want nobody to harm themselves, hurt themselves. That's why we took off last week, because they're not good with ice out here. Salt out here. They're not used to the snow being that thick out here.
Yeah, they use the sand from the beach. They don't even use real salt. They use the sand from the beach, throw it out.
They use the sand. These cats are type of island. These cats are really awesome. Yeah, anyway, so we're going to announce, it should be class online for brothers and sisters, Sabbath morning class, all right, for y'all that are not in Houston, Virginia, or Rochester, or San Antonio, or Albuquerque. All right, so anything else? Nothing else? If that's it, let's salute everybody online. Say shalom, y'all. Shalom. We'll see you.
Chilling up in the kingdom, chilling with Yahweh and all the brothers and the sisters, cooling out, having fun, drinking yayin with Yahweh up in the kingdom, yeah. Who are we? Israel. Then who are we? Israel. Can't be you. Israel. Who's the power? Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai's the power. Yeah. Who's the power? Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai's the power.